Give us something. So when you were a child, Coleen, there's about 120 of you. When you were little, did you ever feel, you know, that your parents had favourites?
No, not really. They were if they did, they were very good at not showing it. The only time as I grew up, I realised that, for instance, like my mum and my sister Denise used to clash a bit. They absolutely loved each other, but they were so alike that they'd clash. So that was the only. I didn't feel like my mum loved us and, you know, more than her. It's just that if there was going to be a clash, it would be with her and my mum. But I think it's just because they were very similar kind of characters. She'll probably kill me for that now, but yeah, it's just the way it was. But never, I mean, you know, I was the baby, so I got away with murder.
Yeah.
You know, and my sisters used to go, oh, she can do no wrong. And I was like, yeah, true.
They took full advantage of that, I'm sure. What about in your family, Saira? Did you ever feel your parents had favourites?
So there's 4 of us. I'm the oldest, and I've got a brother, sister, brother. And I know 100% I was not the favourite for my mum or my dad. But I feel they didn't really say it, but I could see as a child that my sister was definitely my dad's favourite. And I think it's because she was a bit vulnerable and a little bit sickly, and so it was a bit over caring, and she did get away with murder. And then my brother, I think, was my mum's favourite because, again, he used to get a little bit picked on by my dad, and so my mum kind of used to just, you know, make him feel a bit more sort of special. And to be honest, I didn't mind. It didn't really bother me. I think because I could stand on my own ground and I was a bit feisty, they just thought, oh, she's just going to look after herself. She's fine, get on with it. But it did bother me.
But it's interesting when you say it didn't bother you.
It did and it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me at the time, but it bothers me looking back, thinking, well, just because I'm sorted, why don't you just give me a little bit of extra, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, they did
my
in their
sister
own
and
way.
I used to say, you know, oh, you're definitely mum's favourite and I'm dad's favourite. And we agreed on that, and neither of us had a problem with it because our parents didn't think that they treated us any differently. And if ever you asked them, if I say, Julia's your favourite mum, really, isn't she? She would go, no, I love you both the same. Yeah. But Julia and I used to talk about that, you know, quite often. So, and I think actually it was more about they had a lot in common. My sister and my mum were very alike. I was very like my dad and had probably more in common with him. Yeah. So we probably spent more time with those, you know, the respective parents. So it wasn't, you know, I never felt unloved by my mum. I just always thought, well, she's, you know, Julia's really
just a little bit extra,
Well, I think I was the favourite until Tina came along, my next sister, and that's when I didn't like that when Tina came along. Because up until then I was the princess, and like everyone was like loved me and everything, and then all of a sudden Tina came along. But I think really looking back now, I think Tina was probably my mum's favourite. She was more like my mum. She was the goody one. She was always there. We are there. Tina's there in the black, and that's my sister Debbie. She was the youngest one, but Tina just did everything right, you know, like she was never late home, she would never answer my mum back, she was just like the ideal.
And you were the opposite, were you?
And I was the opposite. I was always the one that was late home, answered her back.
That's me.
Then if she said, like, you're grounded, you're not going out, then I'd start crying. That didn't work, so then I'd get angry, and it's like, I'd just try everything. But I think with, like, my 3 kids, definitely Bobby is Mark's favourite, I'd say. So she's the youngest. And Louis...
Would he agree if he was here? Would he say no?
No, he'd say no, I love them all the same. But my favourite, well, the kids always say my favourite is Lauren because she gave me 2 granddaughters. So, but I had a trick when they were younger, what I used to do to all of them. So, like, I'd spend time with each one of them. We'd go different places. I'd take them away for their birthday or whatever. And I used to go, like, you're my favourite, but don't tell the others. And I'd say that to each one of them.
I love it.
And
so you told them all. Coleen, what about with your own children, with your 3? Would they say, if we asked them, would they say there's a favourite?
If you ask the boys, they're always winding me up going, well, it's quite obvious Kira's your favourite, which I hate, really, because, I mean, my trick with them is to turn around and say, I don't like any of you. None of you are my favourites. But it is it is hard as a parent because I do love them all equally, but for completely different reasons. And I guess the boys feel with me and Kira, it's because me and Kira have the horses in common, so we're always with the horses. Well, we just love animals. So, and she is a girl, so obviously you're going to do different things. But hand on my heart, there isn't a favourite. They all get on my nerves, and but equally, I love them all as the same.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Because I've only got
Really
Jack,
hard.
obviously, so I can't choose a favourite because I've only got one, so he's my one and only favourite. But obviously, Eamon's got 4. And, you know, people have said to me before, oh, does Eamon treat Jack differently to the other 3? It's like, absolutely not one iota. You know, as far as he's concerned, he has 4 children, they're all treated the same. And the 4 children, Eamon's, you know, 3 children from his first marriage, all love Jack and he loves them, and they're brothers and sisters, they're very close. They talk a lot, actually, without Eamon and I, you know, they're always in touch. And I would say that I think it's been fantastic for Eamon, because obviously when we had Jack, the other 3 didn't live with us, and I think he was always concerned that they might feel that Jack got special treatment, or they might have been a bit jealous of him. But
I like the story you said that your mum once accidentally said the word step brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I think the children were coming over, and my mum said something about, oh, you know, your stepbrother's coming, and Jack looked at her like he didn't know what she was talking about, like it was a word he just wasn't familiar with.
Because to him,
and I said, oh, we just say his brother and sister.
Exactly the same thing happened with Lauren. They used to say, like, she's their stepsister, and they'd go, no, she's not our stepsister. We all came from my mum. We're all brothers and sisters, you know, like, it really, really upset them.
The boys actually never, ever, ever think of Kira as a half-sister.
No.
They said it never even enters their vocabulary. She's just her sister.
And they are really
annoying
close.
Sister.
they're really close, aren't they?
Really close. I mean, she rules the roost. She's got, you know, we've just moved house and she's got a whole chore list on the wall of all our chores, including mine, that I have to do.
That's why I like her.
What about,
she keeps them in
she's definitely not my favourite.
what about your own children, your 2 children?
Yeah, so it's interesting because obviously I adopted Amara, and Zach's my birth child. So when I got Amara first, I don't think people were being rude when they asked this question, but they really wanted to know whether my love for Amara was the same as my love for my birth child. And I kind of like was a bit puzzled at the question, because I genuinely, if you cut me in half, 50-50 would go to each one. I love them exactly the same. But people
you chose Amara
she was given to me. I mean, I didn't go in and pick her. She was the child that came in that day. So she was just put into my arms. But yeah, I don't treat them very differently. But I have to say, the link between Amara and her dad is, I can't describe it. You know, she is very, very close to Steve. And I'm close to both of them, but I can see that there is that different...
And do you think Zach sees that? Does he think, oh, yes, well, Mara's daddy's favourite?
I think that what they say, I think they kind of, between them, like you and your sister, they can say that Amara's very close to daddy, and Zach is a little bit of a mummy's boy. So they kind of, when they're a bit down, they gravitate to their normal kind of, you know, parent, if you know what I mean. But we're together. So I think it's a natural thing. I don't know, it's a favouritism thing.
I think it's natural with siblings. Do they do that thing my sister and I used to do? Like, if we're laying the table and my mum would say, right, put the orange squash, you know, she'd give me 2 glasses. I literally used to hold them up.
Oh, my goodness, Zach
if one was like a millimetre bigger,
take the larger one.
I have that one. Every slice of cake, everything had to get the biggest. There's such rivalry.
Yeah, they do that. My kids do that now.
Do they?
If I cut a cake, they'll be like, Zach will weigh it up and probably even put it on the scales. Yeah, I'll take that one. It's got more icing on it.
Don't you, Cole? If we've got a cake.
I always get the biggest bit.
Always does, every time.